consultancy. The focus of marketing campaign for this week is Sony Walkman. Firstly, I think we should have a quick historical review of Sony Walkman. And as we know that Sony Walkman originally launched in 1979, and at the time it was a huge success because of its innovation, and absolutely it is a market leader. And the turning point came in 2001 when the launch of iPod, the fashionable and visual attractive iPod quickly driven the Sony Walkman off the market. And today, in 2009, according to Sony's annual reports, the global market share shrank to merely 9%. And also worth mentioning is that Sony Walkman sold 385 million units in 30 years, while iPod sold 210 million units in less than 8 years. And the brand equity, according to the data we found in interbrand.com, the brand equity of Sony also fallen from $15 billion in 2001 to $12 billion in 2009. This links to our question about what went wrong, why the pioneer of portable media player has to struggle so hard in today's market. Externally speaking, we think that market today for the competition is becoming increasingly fierce. Apple, Samsung, Creative, all these are key competitors of Sony Walkman, and internally speaking, Sony Walkman just lack the innovation to keep up with the market trend. You know that the style and fashions are what consumers today want. Also, the poor promotion, which failed to maintain the Sony Walkman generation image. Is that means that Sony Walkman is hopeless? Actually, the answer is definitely no. Our research found that Sony Walkman actually has some strengths to differentiate from other competitors. It's both for sound and video quality, the battery life, and also its nostalgic classic image to many music fans. That is to say, Sony Walkman has a very huge potential market. Now, my colleagues will go on to give some suggestions about how to reposition Sony Walkman brand as a market leader by critically evaluating on Sony Walkman's marketing mix.
Sony Walkman had a vast range of products. As you can see, it has the X series, W series, A series, S series, B series, and E series. And all these products have different forms of functionality. Currently, in 2009, Sony has improved its products. And as you can see, it has comparative advantages. First of all, it has better sound quality. Secondly, it's simple to use. Customers can simply drag content from their PC hard drive and drop it onto their Sony Walkmans. Thirdly, it has long battery life for all its products. Now, Sony has a number of weaknesses. The first weakness that our marketing team has discovered is that it has a limited product design options. Secondly, it has a very complex naming convention. As you can see with the example here for the X series 16 gig MP3 player, it's quite complicated and very hard to remember. Now, how are we going to improve the Sony Walkman product? Well, firstly, we are going to implement a product customization service whereby customers will be able to customize the color and the design of their MP3 players through the internet or telephone. Secondly, we're going to simplify the product names. Rather than using long codes as this, we're just going to name the products as A series, B series, E series, etc. That way, it will be far easier for customers to be able to remember and distinguish the products.
In promotion, we seek to address the weaknesses of the current campaign, in which Sony shows a product-centered approach, but yet the product lacks visibility and imagery, as can be seen in this example from the print campaign, which is based on a still from the TV campaign. The differentiating advantages of the Sony Walkman we feel remain underrepresented in both TV and print campaigns. We therefore suggest to heighten the Walkman's visibility in both advertising and everyday life by promoting its superior audio technology, and we also seek to diverse the campaign to focus on the customer rather than the product. We suggest the introduction of the new bulky headphones. They aim to heighten the visibility of the Walkman in everyday life, while referring to the original launch of the Walkman, creating Walkman culture. At the same time, they emphasize the Walkman's superior audio technology. Additionally, celebrity endorsements and fashion collaborations can promote limited editions Walkman and headphones that can vary in price and exclusivity. In advertising, we seek to focus on the product imagery and launch a print campaign placed in the tube and buses and trains, places where the Walkman would normally be used. In public relations, we suggest that Sony continues the sponsorship of traditional music festivals, but also explore new concepts such as music events as the headphone disco, where clubbers hear the music through headphones rather than through laptops. The internet presence should be relaunched by introducing a new single-stop website instead of the 3 current websites. This new website should feature integrated download features, an online shop, and interactive features from the current website. On price, as can be seen from this chart, the average Sony Walkman is cheaper than the iPod. Our suggestion for the Sony Walkman is to not alter the current price strategy for the actual Walkman, but instead to introduce an optional product pricing strategy, offering the range of the new bulky headphones with the Walkman logo on a discount.
Okay, in terms of place, Sony Walkman does not use direct distribution channels, but instead uses indirect distribution channels to supply goods to consumers through the use of independent retailers like Sony Center, Argos, and Amazon. Our new strategy is to implement a multi-distribution system whereby Sony will be able to sell products directly to consumers through the use of the internet and telephone, and still retain its indirect routes. Sony Walkman can also implement new retail channels by using Sky Active, where a consumer would be able to order a Walkman through his or her TV set.
Now we come to the conclusion part. After considering the way Sony should give to each section of the marketing mix, we think that 20% of our budget should be allocated to the product part to improve the current Sony Walkman to be more fancy-like and also stylish. And 40% our budget will be devoted to the promotion, and we think that through the promotion we can dramatically improve Sony Walkman's brand awareness in the market. And 10% will be subsidized to the optional product pricing strategy, while the rest 30% of the budget will be given to set up a direct distribution channel. And both of these will obviously increase the market share of Sony Walkman. In all, we think that Sony Walkman revival is a very feasible project.
Take me on a rocket ride.
I love music.